Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25. Today we're on Monday Night Football, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Last season, the Eagles were the #1 seed in the NFC, although they fell before the Super Bowl. Did not even make it to that point. Fell to the Dallas Cowboys, who would go on to win the NFC, as we are here from Lincoln Financial Field. Our Snowhawks at 1-2, coming off a win last time out against the Seattle Seahawks, as we now look to go to 500 football. We own the Philadelphia Eagles first-round pick in this year's NFL draft, so all that more to play for in this one. There's Nick Sirianni, one of the winningest head coaches since joining the Eagles a few seasons back. Jalen Hurts, the #3 passer in the NFL, entering this matchup, as we're going to be here at the opening kickoff. Looks like our offense has come alive here in the past couple weeks after posting just 3 field goals back in week 1, as we are now here at the opening kickoff, as we are now underway here in week 4 of this year 3 season. Our Snowhawks at 1-2, still playoff aspirations here in year 3 of this expansion team. Opening kickoff, going to take that to the 30-yard line, as you see Jalen Hurts coming out to the field, still in search of that Super Bowl victory. This Eagles team, pretty much the same framework as they've had over the course of this franchise, with most of their key players still on the team, as Saquon Barkley out of the gate will take that for 8. Barkley, 2 touchdown runs, 126 yards on just 14 carries last week. And then they'd come out in the I formation here on 2nd and 2. Hurts on the drop back, and that was miscommunication there with Devontae Smith. Jack Gibbons in the vicinity. Thought he might be able to make a play on that one, so we get a quick 3rd down here. 3rd and 2 at the 38-yard line. Barkley motions out as Hurts takes the snap. Being chased now by Joey Bosa, and he's going to be brought down. Joey Bosa, his 2nd sack here, had one against San Francisco in week 2 in that brother matchup, as Nick Bosa, of course, on the opposite side there. And Joey Bosa getting home for the sack. Signed a 2-year contract with our Snowhawks this past offseason, and has certainly brought a presence here, working there against Jordan Mailata. And Mailata, of course, no weak opponent at left tackle, but Bosa making him look silly on that one. Now the punt here, as Philadelphia goes 3 and out to start the game. Going to be fielded there at the 21-yard line by undrafted free agent Perry Harris. Doesn't get much there. And now we'll see Lucas McDonald, last year's NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now 2nd year of his career. The franchise quarterback for our Snowhawks. A similar start to Hurts, not as efficient with the completion percentage, but both with 5 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions. And they both make an impact with their legs as well. We'll start here at the 26-yard line and see if we can keep the high-paced offense going. Ray McLeod, 2 touchdown catches in the last game. We'll see if he can match that here today. Fake it and swing that for Harrison Jr. Blocks don't really develop, as Harrison Jr. gets 2. Marvin Harrison Jr. with 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown last week. Now 2nd and 8. There was Mark Andrews in motion, just 1 catch for 5 yards last week. Now we get for Benson. Nice shimmy there. He made a man miss there on the juke, and he'll take that for 20 yards, his longest run already on the season. There goes 20 for 20, and now up to the 48-yard line, as we get a quick hit there out of the gate. See if he gets a bigger volume in this game. Really have been splitting between he and Alvin Kamara. Quick one there for Mark Andrews, and that one's blown up by Zach Bond, still here with the Eagles. After a tremendous opening season, earned a contract extension, and that time 2-yard loss on the Andrews catch. This time McDonald directly under center. Alvin Kamara the back, as he will get the give, finds a nice lane, and then stopped short there by Bond, gets 5. Now a 3rd and 8 at midfield. McDonald sitting in the pocket, and he's going to be hit as he threw, so that one goes incomplete. Milton Williams there providing the quarterback hit, getting home, as we trade punts here in the first quarter. Nice run there by Trey Benson, did work it towards midfield, but really nothing doing after that, as that's Matt Ariza gets the kickoff, and that punt will go for 27 down to the 23. Hurts will start this drive empty. I think that's Barkley at the top of the screen. Hurts sits in the pocket, and that one going to be hit as he threw, I think, and that one incomplete. Veteran Kendall Fuller and rookie Nathan Scruggs have proved to be very good additions to our cornerback unit, as Hurts takes the snap here. Going to just run for this one with good coverage downfield. He's going to be rocked there by Jack Gibbons, meeting him at the line to gain, as Hurts will get the forward progress. Gibbons helps him up, and they're still scrapping. Not sure what that's about. And now 1st down to the 33-yard line. Hurts there with Barkley in the backfield, and they will fake it, as Hurts will keep, and he has a lot of space to run now down to the 47-yard line. That one for 14. Now 1st and 10 at the 47. Hurts takes the snap. We'll give to Barkley. And he's going to be closed off on the edge. Very good tackle there by Quay Walker. Haven't heard his name called too much. Signed a 4-year contract this past all-season. Missed week 2 against San Fran, but now back in the lineup. And now second down at the 48. Hurts takes the snap. And he's going to be chased again there by Joey Bosa. And now make it 2 sacks for Bosa here in the first quarter, as he now leads the team with 3 on the season. Someone has to account for him at some point, you would think. And we'll take a look at another rep from him working there against Landon Dickerson. I think they're on the inside this time. And Hurts already sacked twice in this game. Not what you would expect, but against one of the game's top offensive lines. And they get a third and an eternity here, 3rd and 20. And at the 38-yard line, Joey Bosa came to play today. Now off the field here. I'm sorry, no, he's still up there. I thought he got subbed out. Hurts resets underneath there for A.J. Brown. And that will be well short, as the Eagles will have to punt again. That goes for a touchback, so Salt Lake City back with it now at the 20-yard line. McDonald directly under center and gives back to Benson, trying to work that up the middle. Resets, and he scraps ahead for 4. Zach Bond, another tackle there, very active early on. Now 2nd and 6 at the 24. McDonald going to fake the pitch for Benson, goes for Tony instead. And that one a little catastrophic to say the least, as that goes for a 6-yard loss. Now 3rd and 12, both of these teams facing 3rd and very longs. As Tony motions to the bottom of the screen, McDonald takes the snap, drops back. Going to try and run up, and he's going to be chased and tracked down there for the sack, as the Eagles get one back of their own there. And that's going to force the 4th down as we continue to trade punts early on here. Matt Ariza this time back at his own end zone, punting officially from the 11-yard line, as he does get that one off. Philadelphia winning the field position battle early on, as they do get a return this time, and they will take over at the 44 with 2:05 left in this first quarter. 2 punts for each side so far. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts going to try and work it into Salt Lake City territory. A short field to work with, as they'll start here from the left hash at the 44. They go full house here, although fullback will motion out, and they will give to Barkley. Nice lane opens up for him, as he'll be teamed up there by Kendall Fuller, Andrew Van Ginkel, as he gets 8 up the middle. Now 2nd and 2 across midfield into Snowhawks territory. Barkley again will motion to the top of the screen as Hurts takes the snap. Quick one there for Dallas Goedert as he hauls that in. Forced back a lot, but still the forward progress will give him 8. Now 1st down at the 41. Barkley again, and so he'll take that ahead for 8. 2nd and 2. They stack the line with a fullback out there, although Hurts will drop back. Now being chased again, breaks a Bosa sack. Ibn sack as well, and he'll get ahead for forward progress. Broke a couple sacks, and then finally tackled there by Xavier Thomas. Bosa was going for number 3, but couldn't quite finish, as that will take us into the end of the first quarter. 0-0 still here from Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. Both defenses showing up early on, but the Philadelphia offense in striking distance now, as they look to get on the board to start the second quarter. The Eagles 1st down at the 28 to start the second. Again, coming out with the fullback on the field. And Hurts will drop back. Just a 4-man rush for Salt Lake City. Hurts does find a man at the sideline. I think that's Devontae Smith. He gets 7. Devontae Smith, one of the best receivers in the NFL at work in the sideline. Catches it 95% of the time, I want to say. Now 2nd and 3. Barkley another give, as he'll break initial contact. And he'll fight ahead for 6 and the 1st. Again, 2 tight ends on the field for Philadelphia. Hurts underneath there has a man, and that will get 7. Now a 2nd and 3. Goddard motions into the backfield, as they will get for Barkley, and he's hit hard there by Matthew Torrance going downhill, cleaned up by Kwity Paye, as Barkley is stopped short of the line to gain. So now a 3rd and 1 here at the 6. Hurts takes the snap. Going to try and roll to the right, and again going to be brought down for the sack. Just poor awareness trying to work it out that time. Kwity Paye, another one of these free agent acquisitions, along with Van Ginkel, Quay Walker, and Bosa, as the Eagles are going to opt for the field goal attempts here. A 28-yard chip shot here for Jake Elliott, still the Eagles kicker. This one to put them on the board first, as that is up and good, as the Eagles stall out here inside the 10, but still get points as they lead 3-0 early in the second. The Snowhawks back out there now, trailing 3-0, but a quick strike drive here, either tie it up, get the lead with a touchdown. 8:12 remaining in the half, 2 punts to start. We'll see if McDonald can find some rhythm. Just 15 total yards of offense for Salt Lake City, although Benson had a 20-yard rush, so a lot of losses mixed in there. As McDonald on the dropback has Mark Andrews, and that one for 4. 2 catches for 2 yards for Andrews, not the best output. Not the best yards per catch at this point. McDonald another dropback and immediately brought down. I think that's Jordan Davis, just untouched there, getting home. Another sack as each side now 2 sacks in this game, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 for Salt Lake City. 3rd and 10 now at the 30. Definitely want to avoid a 3 and out. McDonald going to try and step up and run for it this time, as he will get the first down, and he will work that up to the 48-yard line. He gets 18. We saw Hurts extend a drive with his legs, and now McDonald follows suit, and he moves the chains now to the 48 as Salt Lake City approaches midfield. 6:30 now left in the second quarter as McDonald on the drop back. Sits in the pocket, being chased again, going to be brought down for the sack. That's going to be Milton Williams again, I think his 2nd already of the day. 2nd and 17 now, backed up to the 41-yard line. And this offensive line for Salt Lake City, as much as we invested in it, certainly not holding up against maybe the best defensive line in the NFL. Of course, Philadelphia, enormous talent in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Salt Lake City now, McDonald just dumping that off, and that will get 4. Another 3rd and long for the Snowhawks offense. See if we can convert this time. There goes Tony in motion. And then back the other way. McDonald takes the snap, fakes it. And that one just an instant pressure. If we could have got to completion there, might have had some promise with a lot of space to work with, some blockers up ahead. But instant pressure forces McDonald to just throw that one to the turf. And 3 drives, 3 punts now for the Snowhawks, as Matt Ariza gets that one off. And that will go out of bounds at the 14-yard line, so a pretty good punt that time, a 41-yard net. Barkley, 50 rushes for 281, 4 touchdowns so far on the season. Looking to add to that here today, as he's been solid to start. Got to think he's going to get going a little bit more down the stretch. Definitely a second-half running back. Now 5:04 remaining in the second. They'll fake it to him to start this drive. Bosa again beat his man. Did not get home as A.J. Brown beats Max Melton there. A nice pitch and catch from Hurts to Brown. Philly now at the 29. As there goes Devontae Smith in motion. He gets the touch pass there as he works it outside. Now up the sideline, Devontae Smith. A huge gain that time. He gets 26 yards on the touch pass there. Devontae Smith getting out in space and making something happen. Just too many playmakers on this Eagles offense to account for, including X-Factor Dallas Goedert at tight end. And now Hurts out there empty underneath over the middle for Devontae Smith again. He gets 8 as he's tackled there. I think that was Jacob Sexton, the rookie out of Washington, as that moves Philly up now 2nd and 2 at the 37. Hurts making an adjustment as he does take the snap. Gives to Saquon Barkley. Redirects and then wrapped up there. Good tackle by the aforementioned rookie Jacob Sexton. I think he's going to be a very good linebacker for us, as that forces a 3rd and short now. 3rd and 3 at the 38. Might be 4 down territory if they don't convert here. They will keep for Hurts. Trucks a man, strong stiff arm, gets out into space, and he'll take that to the 19 for 19 yards. Hurts was stopped there at the line, I believe, or in the backfield. Broke the first tackle, and then got ahead for a lot after that. We'll take another look here as he just absolutely obliterates. I think that might have been Nathan Scruggs, the rookie. And then finally Kendall Fuller there to bring him down. Just absolutely trucks, tremendous pad level there to knock down Scruggs and gets them into the red zone, as we do hit the 2-minute warning here from Philly. 2 minutes left in the half. The Eagles at the 19. Hurts. Quick one there for Goedert, as that'll get 8. Now 2nd and 2 at the 11. Here goes Smith in motion. He'll fake the touch pass this time, although he will get the pass there to the sideline. Devontae Smith into the end zone for the touchdown, as the Eagles find pay dirt for the first time in this game, extending their lead now. Going to be 10-0 pending the extra point. Very good play design. They fake what they did earlier where Smith got like 30 yards or so, and they still give it to him here anyway. You know, no one really accounting for him slipping out like that, as Devontae Smith and the Eagles find the end zone. Just 1:19 left in the half. Jake Elliott on for the extra point. That's up, and it is good. And now 10-0 here. 1:19 left in the first half. Now 1:15 left for the Snowhawks. We'll see if we can get some points on the board. I think we've only been into enemy territory once so far today. McDonald staying strong in the pocket, as he does get that one off for Darius Tony, 10 yards. Now 2nd and inches as we do burn our first timeout. Kamara the back as he will slip out. McDonald does get that underneath for Ray McLeod. His first catch moves that up to the 40, as we will call our second timeout. Now 1:04 remaining at the 40. Just one more timeout remaining for the Snowhawks. McDonald again underneath finds Tony. That one gets 5. I don't know if that's the best return, as you have to hurry back now. 5 yards. He sacrificed 10 to 12 seconds or so. McDonald a fake there to Kamara. Now going to fling that down the field. Has a man, and that's in the hands of Ray McLeod. Tremendous ball there from McDonald, slipping that between double, maybe even triple coverage there in the hands of Ray McLeod, but could not haul it in. Now 3rd and 5 at the 40. I'm sorry, at the 45 with 40 seconds remaining. McDonald again a sitting duck that time. Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, the Georgia party getting home. And that one, the 4th sack of the day already for the Eagles. Just absolutely obliterating our offensive line. Nolan Smith, one of the budding young pass rushers in the game. I guess at this point more established than he is in present day, of course. As McDonald being terrorized here in the first half against Philly. So a roughing the kicker penalty wipes out a punt. And our Salt Lake City Snowhawks fresh life here now at the 46-yard line. But just 28 seconds remaining as we'll take another sack. That time Josh Sweat. So I think Sweat and Milton Williams each with 2. And then of course we just saw Nolan Smith with one of his own. As they're racking him up here in this game. McDonald off the fake. Plenty of time to throw. Is anyone open though? As now he'll try and bail and roll out, and that one just gets the throw off. Of course, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, the top 2 corners on this Eagles team, one of the best tandems in the league at this point. And to make matters worse, we suffer the false start, backs up 5. Now 3rd and 21 at this point. You might just want to get out of the half, as they will get for Trey Benson, and that goes for just 1. Now 4th and 20, the Eagles take another timeout. They're not playing around here, even though only up 10-0. You know, it feels like they're up by a lot more. So if we can come out strong in the second half, we still have a fighting shot. As Matt Ariza, a good punt that time, all the way down to the 15. Breaks an arm tackle, still going as the Eagles 3 seconds remaining, and they will just go to the knee here, as they'll take a 10-point lead into the half. And I think we do get the ball to start, so hopefully our pass protection can hold up a little bit stronger in the second half of play. Nothing to show for our efforts here, just a 10-point deficit with no points on the board. Our Snowhawks at 1-2 on the season, the Eagles at 2-1. Still one of the more established NFC teams this year. Super Bowl favorite, perhaps, as they look to continue to build that resume here today. But now for the halftime report, as we see there, all the games have been concluded. We see Cleveland a 2-point win there over the Saints. The Chiefs fall to Miami 37-31. We do face the Chiefs next week. Detroit beats the Jets 24-17. Dallas, the reigning NFC champions, 35-24 over the Packers. Tampa Bay 38-20 over the Giants, who we lost to in week 1. Chicago gets their first win of the year, 33-27 over the Patriots. Or I think that's actually their second win, so correction there. Cincinnati 24-21 over the Jags. Buffalo 27-21 over the Vikings. And then we get the Colts 42-34 over the Texans there in a shootout. The 49ers win 24-13 against the Raiders. Denver blows out Tennessee by a score of 55-13. Didn't get to the rest of the results there, but back to this game. 10-0 Eagles. They've certainly dominated early on. We had the sack battle won. I think we were at 2-0, 2-1, but the Eagles responded with 5 sacks of their own, absolutely dominating up front. So we might need to get the running game going a little bit more, although playing from behind, I don't know if that's the best recipe for success in this game, especially against one of the better defensive lines in the NFL. So we'll see how it goes here in the second half. Our Salt Lake City Snowhawks with the ball. Harry Harris on the opening return, and so worked that to just the 25-yard line. Lucas McDonald took an absolute beating there in the first half. Only 35 total yards for the Snowhawks. A pitiful effort. We'll get it going here for Mark Andrews. That one gets just 1. Now making 3 catches for 3 yards for Mark Andrews. Still better than what he did last week, I guess, fantasy-wise at least. McDonald now on the move, finds a man, as he will hook up there with Kadarius Toney. Hopefully that gets him going here in the second half. Now a first down up to the 38-yard line. Benson and Kamara in the backfield as McDonald takes the snap. Gonna just check that down for Kamara, as he can't beat his man there. I thought that was Zach Bond, but I think one of their younger linebackers who they've drafted, as that'll go for a 1-yard loss. Another just super, inefficient in the passing game. All these losses. The fake to Benson, McDonald will dump that off for Kerry Blassingame, I believe, the fullback, as that will get positive yardage now. 3rd and 2 at the 46. Just one third down conversion in this game so far by both sides. And now there goes Marvin Harrison Jr. in motion, as we will give to Benson, and he will get ahead for the first down, fights ahead to the 50. Harrison Jr. in motion, and again goes back the other way. We fake it to Benson. McDonald will dump that off for Harrison Jr., but Zach Bond just waiting for that one, as he greets him with a big hit. Another loss in the passing game, and I have expressed the want to maybe switch playbooks at some point, and we're definitely considering that. Now Kamara will get a give on 2nd and 12, spins off a couple tackles, and that one's going to get 3. Now 3rd and 9 at the 49. We'll see if we can convert another third down. McDonald there has a man, and Tony hit hard, and the ball was jarred free. It sat there on his chest, but he just couldn't haul it in, couldn't take possession of it. As now 4th and 9 at the 49. We are going to punt here to start the second half. Not what we needed, as we still have no points to show for our efforts here today, or lack of efforts. It's been a struggle offensively, but Matt Ariza, another huge punt from him, as that puts the Eagles at the 9-yard line. See how the defense responds here. Been asking a lot of them here today. Hurts, time to throw, and that one just off the mark for A.J. Brown. 2nd down after the incompletion. Hurts will give for Barkley. Barkley, a tough carry, gets 5. Now 3rd and 5 at the 14. A 3-and-out here would be huge for the Salt Lake City defense, as Kendall Fuller on the blitz will get home. I want to say he had a sack last week, and now make it 4 sacks for the Salt Lake City defense, as you are hanging strong there in the sack battle. But the Eagles still 5 to this point. But Kendall Fuller, he's been super effective on these blitzes, as he comes out of the slot, gets home, and forces a 3-and-out here. Salt Lake City with their best starting field position of the day now at the 46-yard line. No excuses left. You have to deliver. They'll fake it for Benson. As a nice throw downfield for Marvin Harrison Jr., and that one down to the 28, a 16-yard hookup. And that one moves Salt Lake City into the deepest they've been, I believe, in Philadelphia territory now, as they will fake it again for Benson. McDonald is going to dump it off for Tip Ryman that time, and another connection loses yardage. Josh Sweat all over that, already a sack or 2 in this game. Now 2nd and 11 at the 29. There goes Andrews in motion. They're behind Harrison Jr. now into the backfield as he'll swing out. And Lucas McDonald going to be sacked again. This time Jalen Carter, shot out of a cannon, one of the best defensive tackles in the game, as that forces Salt Lake City back. Now the 6th sack allowed by the Snowhawks, and I want to say that's the most we've surrendered in a single game so far in this franchise. Beats his man there on the inside. That's Randy Samuels, or Cade Moreland even maybe, at right guard. And no help there from Jamie McLean at right tackle either. So now 3rd and 19, borderline field goal range, as McDonald takes the snap, sits in the pocket, dumps that off for Trey Benson. That will get 5 more, so now brings us to a 49-yard field goal attempt. Joshua Carty, 5 for 5 so far in his Salt Lake City tenure, signed to a 2-year deal in free agency. Now from 49, that one up, and it looked good, and it is good, so the Snowhawks on the board now, as we're back to a one-possession ball game here in Philadelphia. The Eagles had a very nice return there, moved him up to the 37-yard line. They'll start another give for Barkley, and he's snuffed out on the outside by Andrew Van Ginkel. Has been an impact player for us in all phases of the defense so far. And good to see him making a stop there on 1st down. Now 2nd and 10, still at the 37. Hurts going to give right back for Barkley, and again Van Ginkel there to meet him in the run lane. Only 2 that time. Barkley neutralized in this game, 10 carries for only 37 yards. Got to think he's going to break off a big one at some point. Now 3rd and 8. Hurts sitting in the pocket, and he'll run right up the middle. A lot of room to run past the 50, now to the 40, and he'll finally be brought down there by Kendall Fuller. 70 rushing yards now for Hurts, pretty much doubling the total there of Saquon Barkley, as another Hurts scramble going to move the chains. Dickerson absolutely pancaked Darius Robinson there, who was just helplessly on the ground. Now Hurts out there empty. Quick one underneath there over the middle for Devontae Smith, and he works that ahead for 10 and a 1st down. Now here into the final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Philadelphia 1st down at the 29. They don't have to call a play, and they will though. Hurts, time to throw again. Now going to try and step up and run again, as he does. Plenty of room to run now past the 10. calling for a block and brings that all the way down to the 3-yard line at another 26, I think that was. As that will end the third quarter with an exclamation point. The Eagles dominating pretty much in every phase of this game, leading 10-3 heading into the final frame, as they are on the doorstep to extend this lead. Now, first and goal at the 3. You gotta think they're gonna just go for a touchdown here. 4 attempts, and it might just take the 1 here, as it does not actually. A team effort there to stop Barkley at the 1. Now, second and goal, 3 tight ends on the field for the Eagles. As one does motion there into the backfield. And they will give it right back for Barkley as he dives ahead for the touchdown. They extend the lead and now make it 17-3 with the lack of offense from Salt Lake City. You got to think this is a comfortable lead now, up 14 pending the extra point early here in the fourth quarter as Barkley gets one. I think Hurts had one earlier as he passed that one to Devontae Smith. Now the extra point to make it a 14-point lead as that is up and good. So 10:21 remaining here for the Snowhawks as they trail by 14. Good return by Perry Harris gets us to the 39-yard line, so 61-yard field to work with here. Still under 100 yards of total offense. McDonald underneath there for Marvin Harrison Jr. And this will be brought down by Zach Bond, gets 8. Second and 2 now at the 47. McDonald going to try and roll to the left. Does get rid of that one, but he does take another hit. This might be one of those games that lives with the quarterback, taking a lot of shots here today. Now third and short at the 47. We go to the run here for Trey Benson as he just barely fights ahead for the first down. Benson has done a much better job at breaking first contact this season, as he is growing a little bit, but we might try to upgrade and get someone a little more dynamic for next season. As Benson, some good moves there, good vision, gets 6. He's not going to give up his job lightly, though. I think we're just going to have Kamara for 1 year and then maybe try to find a all-purpose back. As Kamara that time gets the target but can't haul it in through the hit. Now third and 4 at the 43. Of course, 4-down territory at this point, down 2 touchdowns. 8:18 remaining in the game as 18 there. Harrison to the top of the screen. McDonald in the pocket and trying to roll out. And again, going to be brought down for the sack. Now make it 7 for the Eagles. Second there from Nolan Smith. A common theme as we are going to punt. 4th and 9 at the 48 with under 8 minutes. You're down 2 touchdowns. Don't know why you're punting it here, as that one does go out to at the 5-yard line. So maybe that's why, as Matt Ariza emerging as the top weapon on this team. 7:39 left for the Eagles. Probably just going to try and run down the clock and come out of week 4 with a victory on Monday Night Football. We did win last year on Monday Night Football to start against the Seahawks in week 1, but not the same result this week, as Barkley will take that for 1 yard. So just 89 yards of total offense, 29 passing yards for Lucas McDonald. That's got to be an all-time low for any quarterback in this series. Now Barkley there can't make it to the 10, does get a few. 3rd and 6 coming up. 3rd and 6 here at the 9. At least if you get a stop here, you're winning the field position battle, but the clock is not your friend at this point as the pocket collapsed. Hurts does get that off, and that's going to go for a big gain down to the 41-yard line. 32 yards there on 3rd down. Nathan Scruggs there in coverage along with Jalen Thompson, but I'm not sure who that is for the Eagles. One of the newer players in this franchise, auto-generated, as we still can't see a name there. Presley, I think that's Calvin Presley. I want to say a first-round pick back in year 1, as he's been trying to work his way up the depth chart. Of course, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown steal the show, as the Eagles there, a huge play to bring up another set of downs as Hurts there again for for Presley, as that gets 7. 2nd and 3 now at the 48-yard line, as Hurts making an adjustment. Play clock winds down, and they will go for Barkley. Works it outside, then teamed up there by Darius Robinson and Kendall Fuller, as that'll bring up another 3rd and short now for the Eagles. Less than 5 minutes to play. Just about at midfield, as they will just continue to kill this clock as the play clock winds down. Hurts takes the snap, going to try and run as he breaks off a sack and does get the throw off. And now the Eagles will punt now from the 49-yard line on 4th and 2. I don't really blame the play call here. You have a 2 touchdown lead, and the Snowhawks have not found the end zone yet, as that was almost a perfect punt. I mean, as perfect as you can get it. The Snowhawks now back to the 2-yard line, and this is prime safety territory, as they've already got home with 7 sacks. And I feel like in these slow sims, you're always so prone to give up the safety, As we go for Benson this time as he barely works it ahead. That one goes for a 1-yard loss now back to the 1-yard line. And now McDonald on the drop back does get that off for Andrews, who spins off a man. And the forward progress will get us to the 2-yard line. So now 3rd and 9. McDonald out there empty from his own end zone. I'm going to try and scramble left, and that does not work as he'll be brought down for the 8th sack now. That time Jordan Davis. So pretty much every defensive player up front for the Eagles has had a multi-sack game. This one just getting ugly now, 19-3. And we've seen in about half the games this season, the offense just cannot get going whatsoever. And I got to think the playbook might have a lot to do with that. It's kind of gimmicky. And as we've built this team, I think we can kind of expand a little bit. As Eagles will take over at the 40 after the kick there did not make it to the landing zone. I have not seen that yet in this game. 3:15 left for the Eagles. Hopefully they just run down the clock. And they'll give for Barkley this time. Swarmed there by a bunch of Snowhawks defenders. I got to give our run defense their due here. They have held it together. It's really those Jalen Hurts scrambles that have caused our dismay in this game so far. Now they will give for Barkley. Stood up there at the line originally, able to reset and works ahead for 6. So this will be the second game this season we did not find the end zone unless we get a late drive going. As we do hit the 2-minute warning, 3rd and 2 here. Hurts on the drop back. Does have a man there, hits him. As that gets ahead for 7, moves the chains as the Snowhawks take their first timeout. That's Bawden, the rookie tight end who was on our draft board, but did not end up going with him after signing Mark Andrews. Now they go for Barkley out of the I formation. And as he skips through a hole there, gets 5, now 2nd and 5 at the 40. And as the Snowhawks burn their second timeout, 1:50 left in this game. And they will go back for Barkley. And so he'll take that ahead for 8, and the Snowhawks burn their final timeout. After a knee, it's 2nd and 11, just over a minute remaining. Eagles at the 33-yard line. And so they'll go back for Barkley, and that time stood up by Quay Walker. Nice run stop. Only 68 yards on 20 carries for Saquon Barkley, as now the Eagles out in the victory formation as they are going to defeat our Snowhawks here 19-3 in week 4. A dominant display by the Eagles defense, and their offense did enough. Our defense has continued to play well throughout the course of this season, but our offense and our inability to really have any consistency has obviously hobbled our efforts, as they're going to kick a last-second field goal here from 50 as Jake Elliott gets that one up and good, as they put a little more salt in the wound, make it 22-3 now as the Eagles come out on Monday Night Football, and they make a statement here now, 3-1 on the season, one of the favorites in the NFC, as they're still in search of their first Super Bowl in this Jalen Hurts era. And now our Snowhawks fall to 1-3, not the start we were envisioning with, coming into the season with playoff aspirations, but still a lot of time to right the ship. We have had a tough schedule here in the early going, and 2 wins, I think, splitting would have been ideal, but I guess we'll take 1 win. We'll take what we can get at this point in the franchise, despite a very eventful offseason where we spent a ton of money, 2 first-round picks, but we're still building here, still young in this expansion era. And I think going into year 4, year 5 are going to be our real seasons where we make a run. But quarterbacks, Hurts very effective, 13 for 17, 147, a touchdown, and he added a ton on the ground. McDonald 17 for 24 for just 82 yards. And I mentioned all those little minus yards we had scattered throughout the game. As the completion percentage, you like that at 70%, but just 3.4 yards per attempt. That's super, super low. We got to do better there. Rushing, Benson was 7 for 39. Had that 20-yarder earlier in the game. McDonald just 1 rush for 18 yards. Receiving, Harrison had 5 for 30. Mark Andrews 4 for 5. That's got to be unheard of. Tony 3 for 27. Blocking, Ikem Ekonwu, his second game of the year, giving up 3 sacks. We signed him to a huge contract and still a little raw. We know he has high potential, but we need better results at this point. Randy Samuels gave up 2 sacks. And Jamie McLean there at right tackle gave up 2 sacks. Fuller led with 9 tackles. Andrew Van Ginkel had 8. Scruggs had 7. Jacob Sexton, Matthew Torrance each had 6. Bosa 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. A sack from Kwity Paye and Fuller. No interceptions. And no passes defended. Carty remains perfect on the year. Hit from 49. Matt Ariza, 38.8 net on 6 punts. Perry Harris had a 33-yard return. Now with that loss, our Snowhawks now fall to 1-3. We're now here into week 5. And as I mentioned, we are going to try and simulate a little bit into this season. We'll take a look at our schedule and it was a really tough draw to start this year. It doesn't get any easier here in Week 5 as we host the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions, and kind of like the Eagles, the favorite to make the Super Bowl again this season. So we very well could fall to a 1-4 start, and then we do host the Carolina Panthers going into the bye week, which is pretty much at a prime spot in this season, I believe. Not that it gets easier after the bye week, but it's going to be good to recollect after we are going to have a losing record unless we win here against the Chiefs and Panthers. So I think with that tough start to the season, we get a little bit easier here as we go along, and hopefully we can rewrite the script into the second phase of the season post-bye week. Hopefully we come back a refreshed new team, but we are going to look ahead and advance here through Week 5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. It would be a huge win, but I am not expecting much in this matchup just based on our start, as we do win 30-24, so I stand corrected. What a huge win there against the reigning Super Bowl champions. And it took to overtime. Total yardage, we had 382 to 313. 4 red zone offensive touchdowns. We were 100% in the red zone. Did have a turnover, so McDonald might have thrown his first interception of the season. Time of possession, we had 45 to 29. Absolutely dominated in that spot. We were trailing 21-7 at halftime, but this team totally rallied and outscored the Chiefs 23-3 there in the second half and overtime. What a game this was. I wish we could have seen this one. McDonald 269, 2 touchdowns and interception, and he completed 76% of his passes. Now going to the running game, we have Trey Benson 17 for 64. McDonald had a rushing touchdown, as did Blasingame on just 1 carry. Kadarius Toney, the leading receiver, 7 for 79 against the team he won 2 Super Bowls for. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 for 68, another touchdown for him. Tip Ryman filling in for the injured Mark Andrews, 6 for 56. Ray McLeod, 4 for 50. Trey Benson did have a receiving touchdown. You like to see that. 3 sacks allowed. Cade Mays, Randy Samuels. And again, we see a Conwu up here. Tackles, we had Matthew Torrance and Quay Walker, each leading with 10. Tackles for loss, we had 2 from Darius Robinson, 1 from Caleb Patton. Only 1 sack in this game from Quay Walker. No interceptions. Kicking, Joshua Carty hit from 50 yards. He's still perfect. Matt Ariza, 111 punt yards on just 2 punts. That's absolutely absurd. As we steal this one at home against the Chiefs, rallying there in the second half and overtime. You got to love to see that from this team. And we now have our first mock draft of the season now in Week 6 of this Year 3 campaign. The Carolina Panthers at 0-5, projected to go number 1 as they go Percy Bronson, defensive end out of Boise State. Not even a top 5 projection, but still the pick there at number 1. As we are set to face the winless Panthers here in our next matchup. Kari Boone at a USF hybrid safety, number 2 to the winless Titans. The Patriots at number 3 projected Leonard Bailey, pass rusher at a USC. And then at number 4, another USC Trojan wide receiver, Markel Pierman, who we do have on our board. We're going to prioritize wide receiver, if not in free agency in the draft, but he may be a little too high for us. Zach Joseph, speed rusher out of Michigan, projected there to the Chargers, which would go with Jim Harbaugh. Tommy Elliott projected there to Miami out of Tennessee. And then another safety here at number 7, Eric Wimbley out of UCLA to the Jets. The top offensive tackle, Braxton Thomas, going to the Giants out of Stanford. And we finally see a quarterback. 3 of the top 5 prospects in this draft are quarterbacks. And Cliff Boss, the first one off the board there, going to the Saints. Then we get Mario Mentor, Virginia Tech safety. So 3 safeties in the top 10. Definitely going to be an area we try and target, like receiver, if not in free agency in the draft. I think safety, center, receiver, running back are big needs, as even in this mock draft they have us going Chance Rodriguez, 6 foot 191 out of Florida A&M, and he's around 3 to 4 projection, but they do have us going with him in the 11th pick. So at this point, I think the way our draft board is just set for the time being, I think we had Pierman as our number 1 guy, and then I think we had Rodriguez as our number 2 guy. So I think in these mock drafts, it just goes based on what you have on your board, which I'm just now realizing. And that makes sense why we had some late projections going to our first round picks in last year's mock draft. So Chance Rodriguez, someone we're definitely going to consider, but probably not here at 11. At this spot, we might pick Philip Lang, wide receiver out of Florida, 5'8", 192. We got a center here going to the Falcons. Carlos Alvarez, a receiver, going to the Washington. Another tackle here, Jason Kirkpatrick, going to the Texans. Lance Shivers going to Ohio State, another D end. And then Tyson Wakefield, which is currently the number 1 prospect in the draft, projected all the way down here at 17, quarterback out of Notre Dame, as the Steelers might look to upgrade from Justin Fields. Then we have a D-tackle going to Las Vegas, another safety off the board going to Cincinnati, Santiago Diaz going to the Packers, John Austin, safety out of Michigan, going to the 49ers, another corner here. Isaiah Kerr, someone we like, who's on our board at the present moment, projected 23rd to the Chiefs. We had another safety here. A lot of safeties in this first round. Jimmy Gallery, corner out of Notre Dame, one of the top corners in this class. And here at 27, they project us going George Bennett, which is a potential undrafted free agent. So going back to my point earlier, they're always going to go off your board, which this projection here at 27 definitely cements that hypothesis, I would think. Mike Cheeks, the top running back, going to Chicago. Ahmad Woodson, a very good linebacker out of Notre Dame, going to Buffalo. Michael Aiken, another receiver we really like in this class, going to Denver. So he might be in play for us. And then they have Dallas winning the NFC yet again, going with the guard. And then they project Baltimore winning the Super Bowl, going with Randy Hatchett out of South Carolina. We have now advanced into Week 7, and we did fall there to the Panthers. So we defeat the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, but then give the Panthers their first win of the season. Both of those games by a score of 30-24. Both took to overtime. So we go to overtime in back-to-back games. No turnover. We did win the turnover battle 2-0 and still fell here in overtime. They outgained us 351-294. Lucas McDonald had another clean game, 68% completion, 219 passing with a touchdown. Still no interceptions for him on the season, I believe. Or maybe he threw one last game. Disregard that statement. Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 70%. Running the rock, we had Trey Benson, 15 for just 29 yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns. Kamara, 5 for 23, 14 yards for McDonald. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 for 74. Kadarius Toney, 7 for 58. Ray McLeod, 4 for 37, another touchdown from him. Mark Andrews back in the lineup, was 4 for 36, not the best showing from him. No sacks allowed, you like to see that. Quay Walker and Andrew Van Ginkel each with 8 tackles. A lot of guys here with the tackle for loss. Sacks, we had 2, 1 from Walker, 1 for Bosa, as he now leads the team with 4. 2 interceptions, 1 from Andrew Van Ginkel, and Nathan Scruggs gets another one. He had a interception back in Week 1, I believe. Pass deflections, he had 2, but Torrance had 3. No forced fumbles. Joshua Carty missed his first field goal attempt, as he did hit from 34, but missed from beyond 50, as maybe it was an attempt to win the game late or something, which could have prevented the overtime. Matt Araiza, another tremendous performance from him, and nothing in way of kick returns or punt returns. So we go into the bye week at 2-4, which isn't the worst result. When you consider who we're playing, we're going to come out of the bye week and have another matchup with Seattle. So in the first 8 weeks, we're already going to play them twice. As we saw last episode, Byron Snow had a decent game against us, but we were able to come out on top for our first win of the season. And now we're here, Jamie McLean, first round pick, our second of 2 first rounders in this past draft. I want to say he was like 27th or 28th overall, as we traded down from somewhere in the top 10, maybe 12, maybe right outside the top 10, as we dropped all the way down to 28, which gave us a first rounder for this year from Philly. And now we see Jamie McLean does have that hidden development, but suffering some morale regression at this point, -1 in a bunch of categories. That 79 strength is very worrisome, and usually I wouldn't have picked a prospect that high in the draft, but we really needed a tackle, and he was the best available with around 1 to 2 grade, if I remember correctly. So that run block really needs to come up. His pass blocking isn't bad, but I don't think he's ever going to be a scheme fit for us. So I think just going into that power mold, I think we got to do, which does lower his morale even further. And we do get +2 for run blocking, which I guess we'll take, but still a lot of work needs to be done there for Jamie McLean. As now I think we will just advance through the bye week, go into Week 8, where we are going to be on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to enter that one at 2-4, try to advance to 2-1 in division play. We still have to play the 49ers one more time, and we have to play the Rams twice, as we do have a few more players to upgrade here. We'll see who we get, as we're going to get a bunch right here, starting with Caleb Patton, our 4th round pick from last year. Had a tremendous rookie season, although he, like many others on this team, seeing some morale regression at this point. But I think we'll just keep playing into his finesse move, even though he is a run stopper archetype, which we do like, but we'll keep going with that pass rush. He does get a bunch of upgrades here, +2 for hit power, power move, and pursuit. Does get +1 for finesse move as well. So it's now up to an 85. The block shed at 81 with 86 strength and 75 speed. Hopefully he makes it as a long-term player on our defensive line. Now, Kwity Paye, a free agent signing, the power rusher, 85 speed, 86 strength. You like that combo. The finesse move way down there, so we're not even going to bother with that at all. Just really go into power move or block shed here, but I think we'll go into that run stopper, get that block shed up a little bit, as that does go up +2, the finesse move +1, along there with tackle and pursuit. And now Jerry Sexton, who probably by next season will be a full-time starter, if not by the end of this year, does come back as star development, was a hidden dev guy we just drafted, 90 speed, you love that. And as a field general, pretty well balanced, but I think we'll just keep going into coverage for now, as he does remain a scheme fit with that field general, but the pass coverage does go up +2 for zone. And now we have a skill point to spend here on Cade Moreland after advancing into week 8. Moreland we drafted 11th overall as a top interior lineman in this past draft class, and he comes back as a superstar development, and I was kind of expecting that. The 21-year-old, 6'2", 327, 85 overall agile offensive lineman, drafted him, as I said, 11th overall, and he was the #1 player in true talent. Came in as an 84, which you rarely see. 97 strength, 90 lead block, 90 impact block, 87 run block finesse. You see there the power ratings, though, in the low 70s, by far the weakness for Moreland, 70 speed, and good ratings across the board. So I think we could afford to really play into that power archetype and try to clear up his deficiencies in that spot, as we'll just go power. And again, a morale regression after we go off their scheme fit or off their current archetype, as he does get +2 for pass block power, +1 in lead block impact and run block, as he's now up to an 86 overall. So Cade Moreland, probably an all-pro, a perennial all-pro, and I think that 11th pick is going to prove to be a worthwhile investment, as we do have to set our national scouting focus. And we'll just take a quick rundown of the draft board here. I mentioned Tyson Wakefield, the #1 prospect out of Notre Dame, quarterback. Then we have Ben Davis, quarterback out of Fresno State, at #2. Leonard Bailey, DN out of USC, followed by Zach Joseph. So a couple speed rushers here at 4 and 5. Another quarterback here, Cliff Bost, who was projected #9 to the Saints. A couple more DNs here, Lance Shivers from Ohio State. Percy Bronson, the #1 projected pick at this point, DN out of Boise State, projected to the Titans. And then we have a pair of safeties here, Kari Boone and Tommy Elliott, who we have 40% scouted already. Hopefully one of these guys maybe slip to our earlier first-round pick, Braxton Thomas and Jason Kirkpatrick. 2 tackles here at 10 and 11. Another safety here in Eric Wimbley. Walter Kidd, the top corner on the board. Markel Pierman, we saw him going in the top 5 in that mock draft. But now we'll go by position. We got to set our nationals focus. So obviously not going to go quarterback. We have our franchise guy, maybe running back. I kind of muffed our scouting focus this year in the regions. Otherwise, I would have had more here at running back. We have a lot of guys here projected in the first or second round. 7 backs here. So we might have a lot to choose from. Probably don't need to force it. I think the combine numbers are going to tell a lot in this running back class. Then receivers, which we very well could focus on. Markel Pierman, the top wide receiver in this class, only 20% scouted, but he is a playmaker, 6'3", 207. Not the best athletics, but you like that A spec catch to start. And this wide receiver class as a whole, not the most athletic, so we're going to have to try and scout out some guys with traits. You see Philip Lang here, a D for catching, so someone will probably be out on. Carlos Alvarez, another guy projected there in the first round. A catching. Matt Aiken, I mentioned we liked him a little bit. 25% scouted. A for deep route, B for release. 5'11", 188 out of Louisville. Elite to great for agility, great to good for speed. And good starting traits, especially those 2 areas. Typically not good, from these college prospects. The wide receiver class can really be a miss at points. But I think Michael Aiken and Markel Pierman look like pretty good options. Luke Day at 6'2", 229. Quite the build there. Corey Stevenson at 6'2", 235 out of Ohio State. Got some bulky guys here in this receiver class. 6'2", 230. Keelan Tatum out of Wake Forest. And then we heard of Chance Rodriguez, who was in that mock draft. C for deep route, D for release. Elite to great acceleration, great to good agility and speed. So one of the better athletes in this class so far. And he did have a draft story on him saying that he was one of the better non-FBS prospects. So we are going to keep an eye on him. So I think wide receiver, it's always a position you could maybe get a guy late on day 3 who turns out to be a contributor, maybe not, an over-the-top type of guy, but a solid number 3, number 4 option in the passing game. Ideally, we get someone to play second fiddle to Marvin Harrison Jr., but even if that's not the case, we still could maybe try and get someone on day 3. So I think receiver, with the depth in this class, we have yet to draft a receiver in this franchise, I believe. I think that might be the focus. Tight ends, we don't really need one. Of course, signing Mark Andrews, but I really liked Bryce Herman here out of Oklahoma, 6'4", 261, only 21 years old. Looking at his athletic profile, 4 of those traits, great to good with agility, jumping, speed, and strength. Change of direction, good to solid. B for short route, and A for trucking so far. So I think Bryce Herman could potentially be a very good target on day 2, even though tight end not the biggest need, but we wouldn't mind, having someone behind Mark Andrews to groom over the next couple seasons. At tackle, of course, we signed a Conwood to a 4-year contract. We drafted Jamie McLean in the first round last year, but I really like Jason Kirkpatrick, 11th on the board. B for run blocking, 6'8", 327 out of Oklahoma State. Elite to great for change of direction, good to solid in speed, great to good agility, strength. B for run block, B for lead block. So not necessarily a top need, but if we can get one of these blue chip tackles, I think we would maybe cash in on that with one of our 2 first-round picks. Left guard doesn't really look to be anything over the top. At center, we saw Joel Adams was projected 16th overall. B for pass blocking, 6'3", 313 out of Florida. Athletics look pretty decent, and center is definitely going to be an area we target, although that D pass block finesse, you don't like that. The B pass blocking is pretty good, and he is a power archetype, so you got to expect that finesse to be a little bit lower. And as I was saying, we're definitely in the market for a center, so if not in free agency, maybe in the draft, although I don't know if it's the strongest class for that. Going over to defense now. It looks like a pretty strong DN class, but Bailey and Shivers probably going to be out of our range. We do like Isaiah Kerr, who we're going to keep an eye on, and then just round of 3, 4, day 3 guys after that. At right end, probably not going to get Bronson out of our range most likely. Some decent options here at D-tackle. I have a bunch of these guys favorited already, but D-tackle not the biggest need necessarily, so I think we still favor receiver. Outside linebacker, a bunch of round 2 to 3 guys. Middle linebacker, same story. Linebackers are pretty hard to find earlier in the draft, I believe. Zach Joseph, a speed rusher, so not even an off-ball guy. It looks like Ahmad Woodson might be the top off-ball linebacker in this class. 5'11", 222 with A tackle, but D block shed. Elite to great in a lot of those categories, or great to good, so I think Woodson is going to be a very good linebacker, especially in coverage. Corner is also a spot we could maybe set as our national focus, but I think we'll still stick with wide receiver at this point. A ton of draftable corners in this year's class, though. Got to be at least 20 or 30 of them going down the list here. Safety, another strong area in this class, but we are on to a good start with already Boone at 40%, Elliott at 40%, and after that, it is kind of a drop-off in talent. I think Boone, Wembley, and Elliott by far the top 3 safeties in this class, and we already have 2 of the 3 of them pretty much going to be fully scouted, or at least close to it. So I don't think we really need to focus on safety. So I think we are going to go ahead and set our national scouting focus as wide receiver, which is a strength of Ted Wilkerson, our national scout. And that's that. And now we'll simulate week 8, 2-4 Snowhawks at 2-5 Seattle, as we try to sweep them for the second straight season, as we are going to lose there 23-9. So our offense, again, not doing much. I want to say it's probably another 3 field goal game from Joshua Carty as we fall out of the bye week. 248 total yards of offense to 321 for Seattle. Byron Snow, a much better performance this go around, completing 64%, a touchdown and an interception, as he defeats Lucas McDonald 14th for 26, just 53%, 164 passing yards. He led the team in rushing with 34. Benson was just 7 for 28 receiving. Harrison 6 for 69. Tony 4 for 47. Raymond McLeod 3 for 42. Mark Andrews blanked kind of again, just 1 for 6. Blocking, Ikem Ekonwu again gave up a multi-sack effort. Moreland, Mays, and McLean all allow a sack. Moreland, the first sack he's allowed so far in his rookie season. Van Ginkel, 11 tackles, 9 for Quay Walker. 2 tackles for loss for Kwity Paye, no sacks. Kendall Fuller with an interception. And we had 2 passes deflected there by Max Melton, no forced fumbles. And Carty 3 for 3 with a 55-yarder in this game. Matt Arise, another good punting effort, as our Snowhawks now fall to 2-5, dropping back-to-back games here. We had some momentum going and now fall to the Seahawks. And I think we're going to end the episode by simming this home game against the Raiders, and then we'll pick it up next time out in Week 10. The Snowhawks look to get back into the win column here, hosting the 4-3 Raiders. Battle of Lucas McDonald and Darren Anderson, who was the first quarterback selected back in year 1, as we fall 31-25. So the offense got some points on the board, but the defense could not hold up in this one, as we allow a new season high 31 points to the Raiders. outgained 430 to 303 in this one. No turnovers by either side. And we see Darren Anderson, the number 4 overall pick in that draft, something like that. Number 4, number 6, as he outduels McDonald here. 68%, 321 with 2 touchdowns. McDonald 233, 2 touchdowns, and 60%. And then rushing, we had McDonald lead the way again with 43. Benson 9 for 23 and a touchdown. Rayer McLeod, another touchdown for him, 3 for 83. Tylan Wallace 3 for 54. He gets a score, as Marvin Harrison Jr. may have been injured. Not sure why he didn't get any targets, and Wallace kind of stepped up in his place. Tony 4 for 35. Benson 4 for 34. Mark Andrews just 3 for 27. Akanu and McLean each allow a sack. 8 tackles for Scruggs. 2 for loss by Patton. 1 sack by Darius Robinson. No interceptions. A bunch of passes defended. Joey Bosa a forced fumble. Cardi 1 for 1. Ariza another good effort there. Harris had a 28-yard return. As we fall now to 2-6. Not a good start to the season here in the first half for our Snowhawks. We had playoff aspirations, and now we're kind of thinking top 5 pick at this point. We'll pick it up next week at Detroit versus the Rams, and then a 3-game homestand as we hit LA, Miami, and Washington, followed by a home game against the 49ers, Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football, and then back-to-back road games against the Broncos and Rams. As we really have to get it going. Our offense, obviously the weakness of this team. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. I don't know if it's worth it switching the playbook in this season, but I think at this point that might be what it takes to turn this thing around. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I wish we had a better result in this episode for you. We started at 1-2 and end at 2-6 as we go 1-4 in this episode. But hopefully in the second half of the season, as I said, we can turn it around. Otherwise, we might be in for a top 5 pick in this year's draft. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.